phone screen. Join on YouTube. Yeah, I think we're got to pull it over just a little bit to the right. The wonders of live streaming. All right, I think we're getting there. Yeah, looking good.
You see where she texts?
I'm sorry?
I'm just trying to figure out where the chat is.
Yep, there's the chat. There we go. All right. Fantastic. We're working. All right. Sorry, guys. We're setting up right now, and we're going live on 2 different platforms. So stick with us as we're setting this up. Right now, we're about to live stream right here on YouTube, and then we're going to be kicking our TikTok live stream off. However, we'll be working with our YouTube live stream audience for this. We'll be reading YouTube comments, answering some questions related to the topic. The topic today is going to be all about foreclosure auction. If you're an expert on that, you are surely going to have a lot to weigh in on here. So I hope we have some people that are on our stream that can share with some of our friends as they load in. We're going to be talking about that stuff too. If you've ever been interested in foreclosures, this is going to be the place to be. So stick with us for a second or two. We're setting up everything right now still, and then we're going to be launching our TikTok live so that our TikTok followers, will know that we have a YouTube channel and can find us over here. For the folks that are joining us from TikTok, thanks so much for being part of our channel. We always appreciate having you guys, and we always love meeting new people over on YouTube as well. So thanks for being part of our YouTube subscribers. All right, looks like we're almost going here. Looks like Matt's finishing up over on his other computer, and we're about to set up the TikTok live stream on the other phone. The phone for TikTok.
Can someone actually see if they can actually make a chat? I just want to make sure it's
up
and restream.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know if you. Yeah, I got it. I don't know if Matt's. If you're able to hear him, he's looking to see if you guys can make a comment. We have somebody on the channel right now on the live stream. Just drop a comment. Maybe let us know who you are, where you're located, what state you're in. We're just trying to make sure the chat feed will work for this whole broadcast, so we can get this thing going. And once we have a confirmation how this stuff works, we'll be able to kick off our stream and move forward here. Oh, we got Matt tested it. Okay, well, there you go.
I just want to make sure. All right. Let's get this TikTok going on.
Yeah. I was thinking in the comment, in the description, it would be like to join us on YouTube, but we'll be all right. All right. So we got TikTok going live. YouTube's been live for about 3 minutes of dead air, so we apologize for the folks that are tuning in. Hopefully you skipped forward past all that stuff. And we see that we're looking at loading up some people right now. It looks like TikTok is kicking off. YouTube's kicking off. I can see our follower count going up.
All right.
So if you're live streaming right now and watching us on YouTube, drop a comment. Let us know the chat feed's working. And if you're on TikTok, we love and appreciate our TikTok crew. But please make sure you follow us over here on YouTube. We're live streaming on YouTube. We'll be answering all the questions from our YouTube chat feed. So take a second, find the link in our TikTok bio.
Yep.
And find us over here on our YouTube live. It's Two Guys Take on Real Estate.
So today we're going to be talking about foreclosure auctions. We're going to go over a little bit what those are, a little bit. Each state's a little different, and then we go over some of the state of the current market and the economy, what's going on, and we'll take any questions you want regarding foreclosures. But if you have anything else, please do me a favor, check out the link we just have in our YouTube channel, as well as in our TikTok in the description, and ask us anything there. Maybe we'll actually do another live all about that.
Yeah, we set up this awesome link called Stand With Me. And if you check that link out, you can ask us anything. So even if you're interested and you're like, oh my God, those guys are finally live, I'm catching them live, I want to ask them my question about what I need to know. We're happy to answer that stuff. We're going to stick to foreclosure auctions and foreclosure properties today. But we want to hear from you. And you know what? If enough people ask us the same kind of questions in the Stand With Me link, maybe we'll do a special video for it, because
maybe we will.
Yeah, that might work out. So check us out over there. And TikTok people, I can't see you. You're way back there, and the phone is tiny to us back here. So please find us over on our YouTube live stream. It's Two Guys Take on Real Estate. Links in our bio. Check us out over there. We're going to get going. We got 6 people already popped onto YouTube already from TikTok. So that's fantastic. Folks in the YouTube comment section, drop a comment. Let us know what state you're calling from.
Wow.
And if you have questions about foreclosures, we're going to be watching the chat best we can to answer your foreclosure property questions. Say hi, drop a like for us as well. Get us going right now live on YouTube so that more people can find us.
Exactly.
All right.
So let's sort of talk about what exactly a foreclosure is, what's kind of going on. So a foreclosure that we're talking about specifically is a bank foreclosure. So that's basically when someone hasn't been paying their mortgage and they basically are getting it repossessed. Their home is being taken away because they didn't actually meet the agreement that they made in their mortgage to make all the payments.
Really awesome answer. I mean, that's really, really straightforward about it. Now, this stuff happens like virtually overnight. Like one day somebody owns a house and then the next day, boom, it's like gone, right?
Yeah, of course not. No, honestly, it could take years.
It can take forever.
I was just reading an article over the weekend, actually. It was kind of funny, about this gentleman who has been in foreclosure for 20 years. I think it's down in Rhode Island or something like that. The guy's been evading foreclosure for 20 years. He has not paid his mortgage in 20 years. It sounds like he's finally at the end of the life of that, and they're finally going to take the back. But think about it. The guy probably got a 30-year note, and he probably paid for 10 years. And hey, everyone runs into hard times, whatever it might be. I don't know.
20 years of hard time, man.
Yeah,
that poor guy,
years.
he's been in dire straits for 20 years, man.
20 years.
Have some empathy for that guy. Jeez.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
I mean, who hasn't had a situation where you borrowed a couple of $100,000 from somebody and 20 years later, you're still having hard times paying it back? Sure.
Yeah. Hey, Mike from Ohio.
Awesome. We got people from Ohio. Fantastic.
Nice.
I love it.
So, all right. So basically, you're losing the house. There's two different types of states that actually foreclose on. There's what's called a judicial state and a non-judicial state. And to kind of sum it up briefly is, a judicial, it goes in front of a judge to be able to be approved for a foreclosure. If it's a non-judicial, it does not. It still has to follow certain paperwork, and they have to file all this stuff, but they don't actually have to get approval from a judge to host the actual auction. And for instance, we actually go into two different states right now. Mainly, it's Massachusetts, which is a non-judicial, and Connecticut, which is a judicial.
So we got experience with both.
We do.
How about that? You guys should follow along and keep an eye on our channel.
Exactly.
These guys are all right.
Learn. So in Connecticut, so let's kind of go over that. It's a judicial state. Typically, they will. It takes about maybe a year or so for it actually to pan through all the rigmarole of the court system. But once they actually finalize and get the approval of the court, they'll actually schedule an auction. And in Connecticut, so this is Connecticut specifically, they actually post all that stuff online on the court's state's website, and it's hosted by lawyers all across the state, which is kind of interesting. And it actually is hosted at the property. So that's kind of cool. You go there, they'll then take your name, they'll give you like a bid number.
So you're basically registering when you get to the property.
Yes.
And they hold these at the actual property themselves. They're not holding it at City Hall or anything like that.
No, I mean, some states definitely do hold at City Hall, but Connecticut specifically, it's at the property. I would say also most time, maybe 9 out of 10 times, you're not getting access to the property, maybe even less than that. So often it's, sight unseen. You're seeing it as is, where is, so to speak. That's what they generally say when they read the paperwork. So you don't get to get in. If it has occupants, those are yours to deal with.
Think about that, guys. That's freaking crazy. I mean, it's not like you're buying this thing for like $500. You're going out and you're bidding real money on a house. Like,
oh, yeah.
These things go big bucks.
I mean, they can be, yes.
Sure. So, I mean, you could be going out spending $200,000 on essentially a big mystery box.
He likes this mystery box.
Absolutely. I mean, what kind of crazy stuff? I mean, who does that? I mean,
we do.
That. What are we doing?
Well, because also there's this mystery box. Once in a blue moon, not all the time, you get a house for how much do we get? What's our best deal?
Wow. Well, I know we did one for about $200. $200 for a house.
It was a duplex too, by the way,
amazing.
In Westfield, Massachusetts.
Good old Westfield.
Now, have we ever got another one like that?
No, we should probably we got to find more.
I know we need a bunch more of those. Now we have also gotten some in the low thousands, but often we have to run our numbers and we get stuff 10,000, 20,000, 40,000. Yeah. But as long as you do your numbers, that's pretty. You can be a good deal.
$200 for a house, and we're going to tell you all about how we did that. We're going to tell you all about how we do all of them at all the different price points, frankly. But seriously, if you're not tapping the screen or dropping a like wherever you're watching, if you're on TikTok and you're watching there, tap the screen a bunch before you go and find us over on YouTube, because we're answering questions from YouTube as we get going on this stuff. So we want to have you guys find our channel. You can find the link there. But $200 for a house, YouTube people, can we get a thumbs up for that? We're going to tell you all about how you can feel comfortable or a little bit more comfortable finding access to these kind of deals. This stuff is real.
So once again, continuing on with the Connecticut specifically, one of the beautiful things about Connecticut auctions is they have a beautiful court system online.
Beautiful court system, possibly the greatest court system in all the world.
Honestly, it's pretty impressive. The amount of documents and the access to information that is public information anyway, as opposed to before you had to go down to the courthouse. You had to hope to find someone that had the time to actually go pull the file, all that stuff.
Step it up, Massachusetts. Come on, Mass. Step it up.
They're trying.
They're not trying. They're slow as hell. Step it up, guys.
But you can get access to the appraisal, the judgment amount, the pretty much anything, and having to do with that case and the filing of it, you can get access to that, so you can have a really good idea of what's going on with the property. But once again, you get there and it's occupied. It's the former owner. It's tenants. Whatever it is, you need to.
Yeah, it's boarded up. It's locked up. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you don't know if it's occupied. We've actually bought property we thought was vacant. Came with squatters.
You're talking about one the weekend that you visited?
Yep. So actually, yeah, it's happened a few times, unfortunately. But so you can't always tell. I mean, if you guys have been TikTok followers of ours, you watched us walk around with our cameras and go live on these things, and we kind of play detective. We use a little bit of our experience to try to determine and ferret out what's going on at the property, because I don't want to say it. Every time I say it something new happens, but we've seen it all, right? And then something brand new happens next week.
Yeah. I mean, there's been crazy court cases that affected the whole foreclosure market. And then the pandemic, no one can foreclose, or the banks are skittish to foreclose, even though it says they can, but they don't want to foreclose because who knows what's going to happen with the CDC and the government. So yeah, there's just craziness.
So we really wanted to jump on. We wanted to talk to you guys about foreclosures, how foreclosure auctions work. And this is you see properties that get foreclosed on that are single family homes, small ones, huge ones. You see multifamily homes getting foreclosed on. You
Large
see
commercial property.
Absolutely. We see homes that have been or are occupied by the former owner who, kind of screwed over their bank. I mean, nobody cares about the bank, but let's face it, they begged and pleaded and borrowed money from this bank, maybe a local bank, you know, and then didn't pay them back. And the home got taken away because the bank had no choice. They waited. It takes years sometimes to go through this whole process. And the bank says, you know what, we have to sell this house to at least cover some of the money that we loaned to this guy, and they didn't pay us back.
Correct.
So we might take over the house with those former owners in it. Maybe we take over a property that has tenants in it and they had no idea this was going on. What a crazy situation that is.
That's what they say, at least. I find it hard to believe based on all the requirement notifications, the sheriffs, everyone that's going to be, letting them know. I highly doubt it.
It's a very active and long process.
Exactly. It's not, at least once again, this is Massachusetts and Connecticut. I don't know how they're doing it over in other states, but
like out in Ohio with our boy Mike C.
Oh, we got some couple other questions coming in.
So let's take a quick second. TikTok people, if you're over on TikTok, we can barely see the screen. Hey, TikTok. We are helping the YouTube live feed right now. We're going to answer their questions. If you're on TikTok and you haven't switched over and found us right now on YouTube, take a second, find us over on YouTube, going live at Two Guys Take on Real Estate. There's a link right up in our bio about it.
So Mike's asking about the market crash. We're not talking too much about the market crash necessarily right now. Feel free to check the link with the Samuel link, and you can ask us anything there. And maybe if we get enough questions, we'll definitely do a whole nother segment. We're hoping to do these lives on a weekly basis.
Yeah, we're going to try to keep sticking with this.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of fun. We've been getting a lot of communication from our followers too.
Asking us to do this. So we're doing it.
So we're doing it. Absolutely. We're here with you, and every week we're going to go over something with a different topic. So we are going to try to stick with questions related as much as we can to this topic. But like he said, find that Stand With Me link here right on. You can click it on your screen on YouTube, and there's an Ask Me Anything feature. We'll be happy to give you a video reply.
Yep. And then Aaron is asking also about how to find multifamily homes. So foreclosure auctions could be a potential access to a lot of multifamily homes, especially with some of the situations that are coming out now. And I wanted to talk about. So at the end of this month, in general, the CDC order is ending. So finally, and it sounds like they're not going to extend it. That's what they've said. Who knows? But right now, there is the eviction moratorium and the foreclosure moratorium ending at the end of July.
Yeah.
So we're talking about like a week away.
I mean, they've been extending it and extending it, and there have been some foreclosures and evictions and stuff here and there as the law and rules have permitted. But
right. So once again, the CDC order actually only impacted, which is about 75% of loans, because it was only regarding government-backed or federally backed loans. Yeah. So that's stuff, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, stuff like that, Ginnie Mae. A lot of mortgages are conventional and are held by regular local banks that don't resell to the secondary market. And those ones still actually had foreclosures. We bought a few. There's been a few here and there, but it's by and far most of the mortgage and most foreclosures will be coming from the government-backed loans, which have been stalled out because of the CDC order. So that is coming to an end as of right now in the end of July.
So, and that's another part of how prices have been getting jacked up. There's been a lot of things going into a shortage of house supplies. And this has been a natural order of things where people just don't perform for a variety of reasons. And the banks don't get paid their loans. They have to foreclose. These houses go back into supply.
Check something real quick.
They go back into supply. They end up getting purchased by hopefully an investor or somebody that's going to renovate the house if it's been distressed and run down. Remember, if they haven't been paying the mortgage on the property, they probably haven't been fixing the roof. They probably haven't been keeping up the property that well. So this has been one of the many things that have contributed to a shortage of housing supply right now, which shortage of supply means an increase in price. So if you're interested in acquiring a home for yourself, if you're interested in becoming an investor, becoming maybe a landlord looking to house hack, right? We love house hacking. So
we do.
And when there, what was it? Aaron on here was asking about how do you find multifamily homes? That $200 house that we bought, it was a 2-family house.
Exactly.
And
so
could you imagine? It needed a lot of work, sure, but you're going to fix that house up. You live on one floor, you rent the other floor out. You're house hacking. You're almost basically offsetting your living expenses. Could you imagine living in a home that you own and having it cost you nothing?
Yeah, no, that is a great stuff, and we talk about all that on our YouTube channel. So you can definitely check out more videos about that. If you have specific questions, you can definitely reach out to us on the Stand Me With Me page, and we'll be happy to answer your questions there.
And absolutely. And so don't lose us. If you did switch from TikTok over to YouTube Live right now, where we are live streaming and taking questions, make sure you not only like our feed, because we'd appreciate it if you like this video that you're watching, but also subscribe to us so you don't lose us. And you can find us again when you have time to watch about house hacking, when you have time to learn more about what we do here on our YouTube channel.
It sounds like, it looks like Deja, we have someone from West Springfield, Holyoke area.
Whoa, of course we do. What's up, Deja? Good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, and Karen, so much for the good information. You're welcome. Good morning, Weston. How's it going? Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for joining. If you haven't, please make sure you hit that like button. Hopefully it will tell YouTube to actually push this out to more people, and we can get a bunch more great questions. So we really appreciate it.
Yeah, your comments, your likes, and your interaction with our channel will help us reach out to way more people like yourselves who want to learn for free. Everybody talks about, there was a video I commented on over on TikTok somewhere. They were talking about how people have to sell blood to pay for college. They were making it like this pathetic thing where it's like they have no choice but to have to sell their blood to pay for an education. Wow. So that's just the only way they can do it. And that's a horrible state of America where people have to do that. Nobody has to do that whatsoever. Are you kidding me?
That's insane.
If you never watched Good Will Hunting, that was literally a scene in Good Will Hunting where this guy's he's mocking people who spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on a college education that they could have got for $20 in late fees at the local library. There's lots of access to information. And we like to think that, in our small way, we're part of that. So all of our video content is free. If you did want to support our channel by dropping us a tip, hey, always happy to accept coffee money and things like that. Drop a click on the Stand With Me link and check us out over there too.
Exactly.
So right, let's get back to foreclosures.
I know, Kevin. Kevin gets off topic a lot.
I get off topic, yeah.
Yeah, you do. So we talked a little bit about a judicial state, which is like Connecticut. So let's talk a little bit more about non-judicial states, which is Massachusetts, which is actually kind of our home, town or home state where we actually do a lot of our business. And
somehow, I don't know how we make it in Massachusetts.
Well, we've been making it barely, but
if you can survive in a state like Mass, and we'll keep the politics out of it. We'll let you analyze that. you can succeed in a lot of other places.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. It's one of definitely the more tenant-friendly states, and that is definitely a difficult time.
Yeah, sure.
So in state of Massachusetts, it's a non-judicial, so it doesn't have to go into court. They are required to give certain notifications to the homeowner. They have to file certain paperwork, all that kind of stuff. I'm not up. Okay.
Well, sorry guys, we'll be right back. We're having another technical glitch with the camera aspect of the feed. So bear with us.
It shows it. It's got power. Oh my God! I don't understand. I thought you said this.
Sorry, stick with us, guys. We're trying to reboot the camera.
It's not really fully turning, dude.
Oh, I see the feedback up on the screen over here on the side. Stick around, guys. Sorry about that. We're still working through this. This is really still only our second broadcast, and we're trying to improve as you can see, the video and the audio. So we've been swapping out equipment. So we might be running into some technical difficulties here and there. Bear with us. We do appreciate your patience. Not always the most fun thing in the world to have to work through technical glitches like this. But if you watched our last broadcast, we were actually doing it all just from a basic iPhone. And the audio is obviously dependent on the iPhone mic and stuff like that. So we've upgraded, we've been changing out our equipment, but as we're doing that, we're realizing it has different behavioral issues here and there.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I don't know why. I think maybe it overheated. I don't know.
Hard to say.
So it's currently working, so I apologize for that. We got a few people back. So yes. So let's talk
Massachusetts foreclosures and how we go to those, how they work.
Okay, so Massachusetts, they're non-judicial, and basically they're hosted by third-party auctioneers. You can find a lot of that information in the local newspapers. They actually have to put it into local newspapers about the upcoming sale.
Right, they publish and advertise the foreclosures, and actually these auctioneers, these auction companies have their own websites. They look like websites I made when I was
they're
learning.
They're back in like the 1990 type websites. They're very basic,
priceless, but it's real simple.
Yep.
I mean, all you're doing is you're looking for the address and the time and date and time of what's being auctioned.
I'd highly recommend maybe creating a Google spreadsheet or something like that, so you can kind of put all that data together and kind of determine where and how you want to go.
Yeah.
In Massachusetts, they happen all across the state at the property at all different times, pretty much Monday through Friday, starting at 8 a.m. to about 5 p.m. So you can tap. Where's my girl Victoria?
Hey, Lisa. What's up, Lisa? Good to see you over on YouTube Live.
But yeah, so you can get access to it by checking out the Sunday newspaper. I'd also recommend once you find all the websites of all these auctioneers in your area, you can kind of keep checking out on our website, maybe get their numbers so you can call them, see if they get postponed. Because right now, still auctions are getting postponed all the time. That's a big thing that's going on. So
sure, there's a lot of reasons that auctions will get postponed. By the way, so if you're if you set up your day, your Friday or whatever day, all during the days, all during the week, to go to an auction, you might want to set up to go to more than one, because there's a good chance the one at 1 o'clock might be getting postponed for whatever reason. And that might be because the owner finally reached out, and I found that, we talked about the foreclosure moratorium, the eviction moratorium, same kind of thing. When people don't have a penalty or a consequence, if they don't do the right thing, a lot of times they just won't do the right thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe that is the case. Maybe they didn't do the right thing and they buried their head in the sand for a long time. And now when it comes to it got the last minute, they're like, crap, I got to do something.
Right.
Well, that's when they kind of jump to action.
Right.
Maybe they negotiate something with the bank, or often what happens is they file for bankruptcy, and that kind of staves off the actual foreclosure.
Yep.
They can only do this for so long, but they often do that as well.
Yep.
And so you got to be mindful of that. But now you're here, you're at the auction, you now need to make some assumptions as you're walking through the property, because they're not going to tell you what the bid is. They're not going to say, hey, guess what? If you bid 100,000 or anything over that, you win. No, you need to actually take your time and figure out what is we call it maximum allowable bid.
Yep, that's 100% right. And he did say something I want to clarify. When he said you're walking through the property, you don't necessarily get to walk through the property, guys. In fact, most of the time, you're not getting into the property. Some of the time, the property is occupied. It could be occupied by a squatter that's sitting there sawing the copper pipes so they can recycle it and give it to the scrap yards to feed their addiction. I don't know. It could be occupied by an owner. It could be a former owner. It could be occupied by some tenants who were renting the property. Maybe those tenants were actually paying the former owner.
It's possible.
And that person wasn't paying their mortgage. That kind of stuff happens a lot too.
Yep. So you're making certain assumptions. If you get in, that's unlikely. But if you generally walk around the property, look at the condition, figure out a rehab budget.
Yeah.
Up or down. No, stop.
Hard to say. I don't know. I'm not sure if the live feed on YouTube is once again experiencing technical difficulties. I apologize. It looks like the camera just shut off. Looks like it's restarting. See if it comes back. Once again, sorry guys. We're still learning this process with newer equipment. We keep trying to upgrade our gear for you so that the quality is a little bit better as we do this week to week. So this is only our second live broadcast here on YouTube. But what we've done is we've actually changed out to a newer, pretty high-end camera system, and then we upgraded the microphone. So I apologize for that. And I see that comments are still coming in. So I know we're still live and the mic is working, the audio is working. So sorry about that. Thanks for sticking with us. And frankly, for some of you viewers, you might prefer the fact that you can't see us, but you can at least hear us. We'll make it easier if you're still eating breakfast, right? Sorry. Next time we'll come back on. We'll wear paper bags on our head. It'll be that much better for you guys. Matt's. We're experimenting right now with swapping out the cords. So stick with us. Stand by. If you're following us on TikTok, sorry TikTok people, we don't mean to neglect you, but the camera we set up for TikTok is on an old school regular iPhone. So that has a much different lens on it where that camera's way too far away. I can see that it is working, but I can't see your comments. So we are dual streaming this. We're streaming this over on YouTube Live right now as well with an upgraded camera and mic. Unfortunately, when we upgrade to more expensive gear, that's what happens sometimes is it doesn't like us. So we're still trying to figure out how to best make that equipment jive with our computer system here in the office. So stick with us. I appreciate it. Thanks very much. And we're working on getting it restreaming back on again. It'll just be a second. We're actually swapping out the cameras. Hit the nail right on the head. You guys are mean. I love it. But thanks very much for sticking around. We're still here. We're just swapping. It looks like we're swapping out cameras at the moment. Yeah, just spin the camera, the screen around there. And for those of you that are on TikTok, by the way, if you haven't found us already over on YouTube, it's a great opportunity for you to take a second during this break while we're rebooting and switching cameras to use the Stand With Me link. It's up on our bio. If you click that link, it'll help you find our YouTube live stream. It'll help you find our YouTube channel, along with a lot of other stuff. If you've been asking off-topic stuff today, we're always happy to answer questions as best we can. But today we're talking about foreclosures and foreclosure auctions. So you can always use the Ask Us Anything link in our bio where we'll actually make you a personalized video response back, letting you know the answer to hopefully your questions. So please take a second, check out the Ask Me Anything link in our Stand With Me link in our bio. Looks like our live feedback on YouTube is running again. We swapped out cameras, went back with a little bit of a lesser camera. But you know what? The easier it is with the lower technology stuff sometimes. So I do apologize for that. So just picking up where we were leaving off, we were talking about foreclosure auctions in Massachusetts. You don't always get into the property. In fact, you rarely get into the property.
Correct.
Sometimes that property comes with a whole bunch of questionable things like people, and then you have to figure out how you're going to sort through that issue. Well, you have to make, like he was saying, you have to make some judgment calls about the property. And you can do that based on your experience. But for a lot of our viewers, they don't have a lot of experience. So what do they do?
Well, what they do is they actually need to either find some mentors, bring some contractors, bring some helpers to actually make some really informed decisions, team up with someone that has experience, or go to a wholesaler, find someone else that's finding the property. I mean, and that you don't take the risk on buying foreclosures because there's a high risk. Let someone else take that risk. And maybe once they actually acquired the property, they can trash it out and then, resell it to you. But now you're going to get to walk through the property. You're going to have, they'll get rid of the tenants or the occupants or the squatters, whatever it might be. And it limits your risk. But with that, you're of course not going to get as good of a deal because they're going to want to make some money as well.
Well, and you threw in a whole new word there, and for some of the rookies and some of the newbies that are on our channel, they might not know what wholesaler is, and that's one of my favorite words to throw around on our channel.
I know, but we're focusing on foreclosures.
Okay, but let's let them know when they say buy it from a wholesaler what that really means. So a wholesaler might be somebody like me who takes a risk on buying this property at foreclosure auction. My experience looking at this property from the outside, maybe sneaking a peek in a window if it's a vacant property, will be able to give me a pretty comfortable idea about what I would be comfortable buying the house for, knowing that I can turn around and I can sell it to somebody like yourself who wants to flip the house or renovate it and hold it and rent it. And I could say, listen, I could feel comfortable buying this property at 50 because I know I could sell this thing all day for 70. To someone like yourself, a flipper, somebody who wants to buy, invest, and hold real estate. So that's basically what a wholesaler is somebody that's going to buy the home and only keep it temporarily. They're not looking to do any work to it. They want to mark it up a little bit and sell it to somebody. Now, how do they get away with marking it up? They're the ones taking the risk on it. You're buying a property from them that you can walk through. It's going to be empty, trashed out, cleaned. You can inspect.
That's if it's a full wholesaler. There's also wholesalers that actually just sell to flip the contract.
Well, yes,
so there's two different types of wholesalers. Wholesalers that acquire the property and wholesalers who just flipping the contract.
Sorry,
so
and he's 100% right.
Clear,
I was just going with a wholesaler as it kind of relates to this situation.
Also sometimes called a wholetailer. They might also be someone who actually acquires the property and then sells it, or if it's a wholesaler, they're flipping contracts, which is a great way to make some good money. But you're not going to get as much access as you would with a wholesaler when someone actually owns the property and has gone through that process. So I want to talk about a few things about the state of the foreclosure market. So we're constantly going to all these auctions all across Massachusetts, all across Connecticut. And we talk to all different auctioneers, between the lawyers from down in Connecticut to many of the different third-party auctioneers out in Massachusetts. And this is kind of what we're hearing. And seeing. So once again, we're constantly creating auction lists for every week. So like, for instance, I've got a list right now for this week. We're already working on this weekend for Connecticut, and we're already starting to work on next week for Massachusetts. So we kind of curate all these lists so we can determine what properties make sense to go to and what makes sense to avoid. Okay. So what we're seeing right now is we're starting to see an uptick. And as I was talking about earlier, the foreclosure moratorium right now is ending at the end of the month, and you're starting to see that the banks are, at least what I'm seeing, is the banks are starting to let the auctions go through the full term as opposed to postponing them.
Right.
And in Connecticut, for instance, over the last year, we've been seeing maybe 1 to 2 a month or a week. Well, over the last maybe 2 months, it kind of tipped up to about, maybe about 15, 20, which was closer to the norm it was being. And then the last couple weeks, it's been about 70 in 1 week.
Yeah, it's getting up there.
That's a sign. Now, some of them get postponed, some of them, file bankruptcy, all of that might, but still, it's a major uptick from what we're seeing. And the same thing we're seeing in Massachusetts. We're seeing more and more auctions being continuing through to the next steps, as well as when I'm talking to the auctioneers, they're telling me there's this massive wave that's coming, that the lawyers, some of the large law firms and stuff like that, they're starting to process, because it's a process, actually filing all these foreclosure documents, and that they're expecting a massive wave coming in the next few months. Because it does take some process to go through all that, generally about 6 to 8 weeks in Massachusetts from the date they actually start the auction filing till when they actually can host the auction.
Yeah. And 100% right. Why would you expect anything less? Don't forget, the banks have been not allowed to collect the money that they've lent out to their borrowers for the longest time. So they're finally, after a year and a half at least, and this process already takes a very long time. They're finally just now getting the opportunity to do something about it for the people that promised them they'd pay them back and haven't. And remember, this process takes a long time normally. You've had this moratorium in place on top of that. So all the people that normally would have gone through this process anyway, through regular life, right, has been greatly increased because it's just been dammed up for so long. And I want to remember, before you jump back in, to remind people, I see TikTok over there still popping with lots of activity. What's up, TikTok? We can't really see any of the text on the screen. I just see lots of text and icons up there. So please, if you're on TikTok, we love you, but find us over on YouTube right now, YouTube Live.
Go to the link.
There's a link in the bio. Stand with me link. It'll bring you right to our YouTube live stream at Two Guys Take on Real Estate.
So we have a question from Weston.
Fantastic.
Hey, Weston. So Weston's asking, does auctions change by state? how can you find auctions near me? So great question. So each state is a little different. Like I was talking about, there's for judicial, non-judicial. So you can definitely try to, maybe Google that. We also do have a sheet that we sell actually on our Stand With Me page if you want to check that out. It talks about the different states. But you can easily Google it, find that, and then I would basically start researching whether if it's state, find out how they're hosted. If they're third-party auctioneers, find the local listings in your Sunday newspaper. That will be in the legal section in the Sunday newspaper, and you can find those auctions there. So that's what would be the great ones to find ones that are near you.
Yeah, remember, there's going to be a certain amount of requirements for a bank or an auction company to advertise that an auction is going to take place. But on top of it, just think about it logically, the bank wants to get paid back as much as they can for this loan that they screwed up and lent to the wrong person on. So they're really going to want to have this thing promoted. The auction companies want to have this thing promoted. So if you search around for them, remember, you're not buying these things from like auction sites like auction.com or whatever like that.
There are a few auction sites, but generally, so I don't want to say too many bad things about different auction sites. But be very careful about auction sites. Often what they're doing is they're re-auctioning it. Right. So what I've seen a lot like on Hubzu and Zome and auction.com is essentially what they've done is the auction already happened. So the bank essentially already owns it. And they're working with the third-party auction website to basically re-host the auction online. And so you're generally not going to get it for much cheaper than the bank already bought it from. And you can check that by looking at the registry of deeds. Often they record it very quickly so that they can take title.
Right. So again, just to recap what he's saying, because this is actually really important. We get this kind of question or confusion a lot. Auction sites like Hubzu, like you said, or auctions.com are often re-auctioning a property that the bank already auctioned. The bank was the high bidder. In other words, nobody bid very much on the property or nobody bid at the property at all. And the bank became owner of it. So now every once in a while, what they're doing is the bank's just throwing it back up for auction on these websites to see if they can get new interest on it. So basically the market already had its shot at bidding on this property and it didn't bid very well. Right. The bank bid much, much higher than what the regular market would bear. So that right there can give you some indication that there might not be that great of a value right there.
It's potential. Now, once again, sometimes the market, like right now, has been going crazy and values have increased. And now maybe the number does make sense. Once again, it all comes back to making sure you run your numbers and making an informed decision when you're bidding.
Yep, 100% right. I want to remind people, because I see so much activity over on our TikTok phone over there, way out there in TikTok land. TikTok people, find us over here on YouTube Live. You can click the link, the Stand With Me link in our bio to get over here to us to find our page. We are answering questions on our YouTube Live. And right now, actually, I see a comment from Maria. Look at the local newspaper for foreclosures.
There you go.
Bank must publish this info as notice. They must and they should. Remember, they want people to come out to bid on this thing. They want to get as much bidding action to drive up the price. They can recover as much money out of their poor and lost loan as they possibly can. So the banks want to do it, but most of the time the banks have to do it. So great feedback.
So another important thing I want you to understand is about what's called lien priority. And this is extremely important when you're buying at a foreclosure auction. So I just want to go over that real quick so you guys can understand that. So lien priority is you want to know basically who's foreclosing. So there's basically the hierarchy goes basically municipal liens. So that would be your city liens, your tax liens, right?
Taxes, they always get paid, right?
Exactly. That's your number one lien. And that would generally be hosted by tax auctions, which we have some videos on that. But then it goes basically what's called super priority liens. Those can be receivership liens. Those can be condo liens and stuff like that. Those get paid next. Then you have basically your first mortgage, then your second mortgage. Then you have basically maybe like mechanical liens and any other subsequent liens. And it all goes about, so first off, they're always the municipal liens and the super priority liens, no matter what, they always get paid first. Then the others basically are determined by, first in time, first in kind or something like that. Basically, whatever one was recorded first. So that's why it's also important the banks make sure they record their loans very quickly. So you could get a first mortgage and a second mortgage all at the same time, but the first mortgage will make sure it recorded first and the second mortgage after. You can find this generally in like the registry of deeds. That's where you can kind of check what's called a chain of title. And you also, that's why it's important to have a title company or a lawyer help you to make sure that there's, a good chain of title so you know what's going on. But if you're doing your due diligence on looking at this auction, you're going to want to know which one is foreclosing. And we've made this mistake. So there was an auction out in Beckett where it was beautiful. It was on this beautiful little pond. We were like, oh my God, it's going to be great. And we didn't do all of our due diligence. We made the stupid rookie mistake of just getting excited about it. We did find out that there was no taxes owed and all that stuff. But when we got the auction, I can't remember how much we bid. It was like $80,000. It was something like that. And at the end of the auction, it turns out it was an actual second mortgage.
Womp, womp, womp.
So what did that mean? That means, of course, we had to pay the few taxes that were owed. It wasn't much. But there was a first mortgage that was $40,000 that we had to pay, or we could then risk losing our deposit, potentially being sued by also the bank for not actually performing. And so essentially we did pay the extra $40,000. The numbers still worked, luckily, but that could make a good deal turn to a bad deal very, very quick. So it's really important that you take the time and understand what you're bidding on, what the priority is. Often they'll, they'll record it, or they'll also announce it at the auction. But I would still make sure you do your due diligence, because there have been times where they've said it was a first mortgage. It turned out it was a second. Maybe they accidentally read it wrong, or
they won't say it. We don't know.
We don't know. You do your due diligence.
Yes. Yeah. We're not here to answer questions. We're here to read this paper and then hold this auction. And remember, folks, what we always say here on YouTube and over on TikTok, and by the way, if you're on TikTok, find us on YouTube. We always say we make these mistakes so you don't have to. Take a minute, follow our stuff, drop a like, by the way. It won't kill you to click a button. And learn from our mistakes by watching our videos so you don't have to make the same things and go through the same kind of struggles that we've done.
Exactly. So we got a question from Jared. Awesome. Can you use Biden tax credit as a down payment for the loan? For FHA loan. So Jared, that's a great question. Please do me a favor. You can check our Stand With Me page and ask us questions any there. Right now, we're just focusing on foreclosures, and seeing as that would not really apply, because so here is something that you're not going to get a loan for these auctions. So,
well, probably not anyway.
Well, it'd be very, very difficult as far as like a regular conventional bank loan because of a few reasons. First off, you generally have to close within 30 days. Getting a bank loan in 30 days is possible, but unlikely.
Secondly, they have to be in a condition.
Right. They have to be basically a habitable condition. Often these are not. Often you're also going to need to get in. The bank's going to require that you do an inspection. Right. Well, you're not going to get access to most of these.
No, especially if it's occupied.
Right.
Who's going to, really the former owner or some squatter is going to let you into the property? No, they're not going to cooperate with that kind of stuff at all.
Yep. So that's something you definitely want to be mindful of, is making sure that you have access to the capital that you're going to need to close on this. So one way is...
Well, just always drive around with a briefcase full of money, like we totally do.
Well, we do, right?
No, we don't. No. Please don't rob us don't carjack us. Don't. No.
That's why we have bank checks.
Yes, no, it is. But he's 100% right. We actually carry a bank check around. So we do have the ability, if there is an auction that I have to jump into or cover, or vice versa, we can each run it and go cover it. You want to have it. Usually these auctions are going to require some kind of a deposit, proof of funds.
And then when we're looking to close, we often leverage whether we have cash in the bank or we'll have lines of credit. Another great way is also working with a hard money lender that understands the market, and that you are, so you can I would definitely have that discussion with them prior to bidding, because you don't want to get to the point where they're like, okay, where's the money? And you can't find a hard money lender. Right. And now you're stuck losing that deposit. And so every state's going to be a little different, but like in Massachusetts, the deposits range from generally $5,000 to $15,000. And in Connecticut, it's generally 10% of the appraised amount, which often can be 20, 30, and we've had ones up to $100 and something $1,000.
It's just crazy to have to bring that kind of money to an auction, right? But
you could lose that money.
Oh my God, I know. And we've done almost everything that could go wrong. So we cover these kind of things so you can learn with us for free. One of the things I want to mention is he used a phrase and a word once again that we talk a lot about on our YouTube channel. So TikTok people, if you're still over on TikTok watching, thank you for being here. But you can find us on YouTube, where we're answering questions on YouTube Live. And on YouTube, we talk about hard money lenders. This is a great way to be able to purchase property without having to have saved up for years to come up with a down payment or some cash that you need to do this kind of stuff. We hear that all the time. Folks, we want you to be out there, be moving forward on your path to financial freedom and be successful. So please check out, I want to stay on topic about foreclosure auctions. That's what we're here for. But please watch some of our YouTube videos about hard money loans.
Yep. If you guys have any questions specifically about foreclosure, it'd be a great time to take those now. And if you have yet to hit it, hit the like button. And YouTube, TikTok over there. If you haven't found us on YouTube, please come over here, ask your questions there so that we can kind of get a bunch of dialogue going on right now.
Yeah, we appreciate you being around, guys. And I see actually a question from KW. Oh, actually, yes, KW. Is the real estate market due for a correction soon?
Well, I mean, once again, we can't predict anything, but
sure.
What we were talking about is foreclosures, and we believe there's going to start to be more and more foreclosures. That's what we're seeing now. They are coming to fruition. The moratorium's ending, as well as we're starting to see an uptick in general in filings, as well as actually in the auctions being hosted.
You see that last comment? Somebody's looking for some keys to something.
Wow. All right, hold on. Let me take care of this.
Sorry, guys. We are running another business while we're doing this, so we appreciate you being here and seeing the fact that we're literally doing these kind of broadcasts for you to learn with us for free and share our experience with all the YouTube content while we're here running a business. So we do this literally. I don't even want to call it our spare time. We do it during our actual workday time, and we love having you guys around to be a part of it. But unfortunately, that means sometimes things don't always go as planned. So thanks very much. And thanks, Victoria, for helping out with the coordination of that stuff. I'm not even sure who said what to who to make that happen. That's fantastic, by the way. Can you find multifamily for like 10 plus units at foreclosure? Dude, Dan, thanks, man, for asking that question. It's a great question. We have seen all sorts of stuff at foreclosure auctions. Wow. You might have been here early in the broadcast where we talked about how we found a 2-family house. We bought it for $200. I mean, that's bananas. We've seen things go from apartments to single families, rather, to apartments like 2 families, things like that, all the way up to 4 families, 6 families, and apartment buildings. You can see commercial properties go into foreclosure, and whether it's restaurants or more of a commercial building like a larger apartment building. We actually bought a 16-family prior to foreclosure. And it was actually a tornado damaged property here in the city that we do most of our business in. We actually bought a 16-family property that way. Pre-foreclosure, in other words, the owner was probably going to see it go that route. So we actually negotiated right with the owner directly. These things do, of course, go into foreclosure. If there's a property and there's a loan on it, for whatever reason might have happened, the owner of the property couldn't make that loan payment, couldn't keep making those loan payments. And don't forget, this stuff doesn't happen overnight. So this is usually a long process. These days, with the ridiculous reaction to Corona of the moratoriums that have been in place for like a year and a half, people might have skated on paying back anything for the last year and a half on their mortgages. So, I mean, on top of the fact that this process could have started taking place a year in advance of that. So if you're understanding what I'm saying, these people that own a single family, a multifamily, or a 10-unit apartment building could have not paid a mortgage payment 2.5 years ago. We're getting close to having a foreclosure auction happen. And then the Corona eviction moratoriums and foreclosure moratoriums took place and lasted another year and a half. So there is all sorts of opportunity out there that hasn't come through the pipeline that should have at this point. So can you find a 10-unit property at foreclosure action? Absolutely. We've seen that kind of stuff come through. We've seen very, very nice high-end single-family properties. We've seen very, very tiny single families, multi-families. And we were talking about one that we bought for only $200, believe it or not. What an amazing deal. Wow.
Yes. I mean, there's all different types of foreclosure auctions that will happen, like Kevin was saying. So, I mean, you can definitely find all different everyone comes into trouble with their mortgage at some point in time.
Sure.
Right now we're seeing, commercial markets are definitely getting hurt. We've seen a lot of people with the eviction moratoriums, a lot of landlords getting hurt. I would not be shocked to see more and more multifamilies be coming to the market.
The landlords have kind of been getting crushed out there. Absolutely. What a ridiculous. Never mind.
I mean, every state's a little different, obviously, but check with your local market. Check the local newspaper, see what are coming up.
Yep.
But yeah, there's a lot.
We got some more questions. By the way, once again, thanks, Victoria, for following two guys
Thanks,
taking real estate
Victoria.
and coordinating all that awesome stuff. You're amazing. I know you've already given us a thumbs up, but hopefully everybody else that is in this live stream right now, dropping these comments, has clicked the thumbs up button on their live stream on YouTube. And if you're on TikTok still watching, please come over to our YouTube live, drop a comment over there and a question so we can help you out too.
Okay, so we got a couple. I don't know where you're at.
What are our legitimate first-hand auctions? How do we find properties directly from the banks?
So, that's directly from the banks. Are you talking about REOs? So that's real estate owned property. That's generally where basically a auction happened. The bank took it back. And then now they've reached out to maybe a local broker, like a real estate agent or something like that. And they're listing what's called REOs. That I would actually talk to some of your local brokerages and figure out who are the top REO people in your area. That's when we used to buy tons of REOs back in 2008 and all the way to 2012. And we were crushing it. Short sales, that was a big thing.
Yep, that was a big thing.
So you can definitely find some great stuff that way.
And that might still be a big thing. Again, remember, with so many people not paying their mortgages, a bank is looking at the fact that they have to start a foreclosure auction now if they hadn't already started it before. And that could take several months to go through. They'd be very, very happy just to turn around and sell it to you real quick next month instead of having to go through a long legal process.
All right. So how do you know how much to pay without knowing how much repairs will be needed? So KW, great question.
Yeah.
So generally, I'm often going to the auctions, and what I usually use is try to figure out a general idea because I had to make certain assumptions of the condition of the property.
Right.
And then I make assumptions based on the square footage, and knowing the area, what labor cost is and material cost, which obviously that's been a big factor, changing constantly. And now once again, now lumber futures are down 40%. So who knows? Prices are coming down again. It's you got to keep up on the market consistently. But basically, you're going to make a lot of assumptions. If the roof looks bad, you're going to want to automatically assume that you got to replace it. And if it looks bad, you're going to want to assume that you're going to have to replace some sheetrock and from leak damage. And you're going to assume that you basically probably have to fix the floor. And if it looks dated, well, you're probably going to upgrade the kitchen. You're going to probably update the bathroom. You're going to want to look at basically comps in the area, what things are selling for, and then basically kind of renovating it to those standards. So if all the other stuff has granite countertops, well, you're going to put granite countertops in.
Yep, that's 100% right. You got to make some judgment calls and also use some basic psychology type kind of a thing. If this is a property that's been that was owned for a very long time, maybe they've owned it for decades, they've done some refis along the way or whatever, but they never updated the siding, and it's the old school metal or aluminum siding. They haven't paid on the mortgage in a long time. Like you said, without even looking on the inside, you can guesstimate that based on the outside appearance, maybe the age of the mortgage, maybe the age of the person, even if you can find that information out, you can probably guess that they have a pretty old school, outdated bathroom and kitchen. And then start saying to yourself, well, I got to factor in, $8,000 for the bathroom, 10, 15 grand for the kitchen, that kind of a thing.
Well, the other thing is another good little trick that we like to use is often, especially if you have access to MLS or on the internet, a lot of these homes being foreclosed, they might have tried to sell them, or put them on the market before. Good point. I got to take this. So I would definitely Google some, we got an HVAC guy issue going on. I got to take this.
Sorry. Once again, we are literally doing this at our regular office hours and work, trying to make time for the live stream demands that you guys keep asking us about. We're trying to make this a weekly thing. So we do apologize once in a while where we have to actually jump in and do a little work here and there. God forbid we actually do regular work stuff. I know. All right, let me just check out the chat. By the way, the chat we're looking at is the YouTube live chat. If you're over on TikTok on that phone that I can't see the words on so far away, we'd love to see you on our channel. We appreciate you double tapping the screen like a crazy person to get more followers and more people to able to see us on TikTok. But we're answering all the questions that are coming in on our YouTube feed. So if you want, take a second, please find us over on YouTube by clicking the link in our bio, the Stand With Me link, finding our YouTube page, and joining us over on YouTube Live. We'd really, really appreciate that, and we'll be able to answer some of your questions over there. Speaking of questions, let me take a look at what Dan has to say. Dan Nemec, I'm in the Philadelphia area waiting for auctions to start up. Awesome. Yeah, I just talked to a private investor that wants to do business with me. So I really want to get my first property this year. Dude, that's awesome. We love to hear that. Please keep us posted on that stuff and jump back onto our YouTube comments anytime on our videos, because seriously, our other followers, other people that are watching these things, love to hear from people like you that are out there doing it for real, especially when you're doing your first couple of deals. They love to hear that kind of stuff. So that's super awesome. I try to watch you guys on TikTok all the time.
Oh, thank
you. We appreciate it. But first time checking out your YouTube, we have a ton of content over here. We're really hoping the YouTube channel will finally blow up and get out there in the YouTube world when the algorithm pushes it out. The only way it's going to do that is by you guys clicking likes, dropping comments, and sharing our videos with your friends. So thanks very much.
Much appreciated, guys.
Do foreclosure homes typically have a lot of interior damages? Not
Depends.
typically.
I was saying, it really depends on. No, not yes necessarily. I mean, if it's been vacant for a while, yes. Now, the reason why that often, and it depends on the market, but we find a lot of people break in, steal copper plumbing, or just want to tag the walls,
or it's been weathered. I mean, there's a leaky roof, and
exactly,
and things haven't been kept up. Burst pipes, because of winterization, and maybe you live in an area that gets very, very cold, like we do.
Yep.
So there's lots of things that can go wrong in foreclosed homes that have been vacant for a while.
So banks have what's called preservation companies, MCS, all these other, a bunch of them all across the country. They'll hire out preservation companies. So they'll go check on properties that either they're foreclosing on or they foreclosed on. And often, if it's vacant, the banks will have an obligation, or they have a right to make sure that they protect the asset. So often we're seeing more and more that banks are now getting in. They're putting tarps on the roof. They're doing stuff, even though they haven't had the foreclosure auction happen yet. We were actually at an auction a few months ago where I got there, and the preservation company was right there right before the auction, and they were literally putting a tarp on the roof. They were trashing some stuff out. So they're trying to protect their asset before they actually own it, and they do have the right in their the mortgage note that they have to do that.
Yep.
So they're actually handling that a lot better now. It used to be the fact, because there was just so many of them, it just wasn't happening. And we would get properties back where, the floors were completely buckled.
Oh, yeah, wood floors.
Collapsing. Yeah, it was bad. But things are definitely getting better.
Banks, smartened up. They created great systems and processes to protect their investment and maximize what they can liquidate these poor performing mortgages for. If I'm talking, so we got top numbers now. Says if I'm talking directly to the bank about purchasing foreclosure property, wouldn't bank know if the property has any liens on it?
Not necessarily. So a bank, or you actually try, if you can get to an asset manager. Right. Now, a local bank might be different.
Right.
But if you're talking about these large banks like Bank of America, stuff like that, probably not. They're not necessarily knowing all the due diligence. If they don't actually have the, even with the taxes, if they're not actually escrowed in, they're not necessarily always checking up. They have companies, but not always do they catch these things. And we're finding sometimes where the tax auction, it basically overrides the foreclosure auction. Oof. And the bank gets wiped out because they weren't paying attention. Yep. And now the actual, like I talked about priority lien, the auction happened for the foreclosure, for the taxes, and now the bank's SOL.
Yeah, there's $50,000 in unpaid taxes owed, and
even if it's $2,000, doesn't matter.
That's 100% right. Yeah, you got to figure it takes a little while for the tax.
Sure, but
absolutely.
Where can I find from Vin? Sorry, where can we find the foreclosures? The best way right now, if you're in your market, I would check the local newspaper. I know most people don't use newspapers these days. I haven't used pick up a newspaper in forever.
That crap I drive over my driveway every day.
But often the local newspaper will also have a website, and they'll have the classifieds on side. You're going to look for the legal notice section, and you'll be able to find that there. Once you start finding out what auctions are hosting them, then you'll be able to find their websites, and then you can start curating a list. Like we have a spreadsheet where we have a whole bunch of auction house companies, and we kind of then go check those out instead of checking the newspaper. But that's something that we've built up over the last 5-7 years.
Yeah, a lot of the local different local auction houses and stuff like that. This way we can track it much more easily than trying to flip through all the different newspapers.
Correct.
We also want to go to as many auctions as possible, because for us, don't forget, we're not looking to live in the house. This is something we're going to do something with. We're going to renovate it and sell it. We're going to sell it to an investor. We'll basically be a wholesaler. we're going to fix it up and we're going to hold it and we're going to become a landlord on that property. The idea is that we're always looking to acquire property if it's a great price. So if you're looking for a way to get started and buy yourself a home or a home to house hack in, you might have very specific criteria, like it needs to be near where you work or near a certain town or something like that. So a local paper might be just fine for what you're looking to do.
A couple more questions, and then I think we got to head out. But let's see, Ryan, have you seen a big uptick in prices even for distressed property in this economy? Yes. I've seen more and more people showing up to these foreclosure auctions because there's so low supply in general of the housing market that they're showing up now to these auctions and they're just taking their shot. Whether they be a homeowner or the new investors and all these flippers coming out of the market, we're definitely seeing an uptick there, and therefore prices have been going up. Which we're very picky. We figure out our number and that's it. That's our ceiling. We don't go above that. So unfortunately, we've actually gotten less property because there's so much more,
demand out there, more people looking to, like you said, take their shot. They're like a homeowner or a buyer looking to buy the property for their own home to live in or house hack. And if you're not familiar with house hacking, find a house hack video here on our YouTube channel. Amazing stuff to learn about. So yeah, absolutely, prices are changing.
KW, differences between short sale property and foreclosures that you talk about. Great question. So a short sale is basically someone who maybe is having trouble with the bank. So they haven't actually been foreclosed. These are like a pre-foreclosure issue. So that's before the foreclosure happens. And they've worked out something with the bank to allow them to try to sell it, and often less than what they owe. So for instance, they owe $200,000. They've worked something out with the bank where they can sell it for $150,000. So they hire a realtor and the realtor tries to sell it, and it's called a short sale because it's short of what is actually owed. Once they actually get agreed upon purchase and sale agreement from someone, that then has to get approved by the bank and the asset manager before this sale can happen. This used to be big back from 2008 to 2012. There was so many of them, but these things can take a while because banks move super slow, especially the large banks. Some of our stuff would take 9 months to actually close. It was crazy.
That is definitely crazy. Yeah. Are you using property management? Dan Niebeck asking another great question. Are you using property management companies for properties, or do you have your own team? We developed our own team to manage our own properties. Only recently did we actually start reaching out and taking on property management, doing property management work and services for other owners like yourself out there. So if you buy a house somewhat in our area and you're looking to buy a whole bunch more, maybe we'll be able to manage your properties.
Come on over.
But in the meantime, if you're interested in buying and managing your own stuff, you can absolutely do it. We're here with a huge amount of information on our YouTube channel to teach you landlordy type stuff and management tips. One of the best piece of advice I've ever gotten was when we were first starting. We had our first 2-family home, and I got to sit down for a couple of beers with a guy that owned about 1,000 units. And his best piece of advice was to use management software to manage your properties. Don't try to manage it all with folders and spreadsheets and stuff like that. So we first thing we did was we looked into how much management software was. And the second thing we did is we ignored his advice.
Of course.
Did literally not do what he wanted.
We knew better.
Yeah. So we went with spreadsheets and folders and stacks of paper everywhere. And it cost us a fortune in mistakes and missed opportunities. So if you're interested at all in owning property and you want to manage yourself, these days there are way cheaper solutions. Please take my advice, take that guy's advice, and click the Stand With Me link. There's a link in there to this company called Rent Ready. They're awesome.
They are really good, especially for exactly. When you have less than say 20 units, they're fantastic. So it's a great way to kind of get all of your data together, and I definitely recommend checking them out.
Then it's cheap. I mean, it's super cheap. It's too cheap. They should charge more, quite frankly. So please check them out in our link in our bio. Do yourself that favor.
Lisa, do you always evict the tenant when you wholesale, or do you pass that on to the new buyer to deal with?
Well, it's a great question. So
if you have acquired a property for foreclosure and then we wholesale it or we wholetail it, generally Kevin actually goes, and we just have an incident right recently, and goes and talks to the people and figures out what they're.
I would say eviction is our last resort, and it should always be your last resort to resolve the issue you have, which is somebody living your property that you're no longer willing to allow to live there. So how can you resolve it? There's lots of different ways to resolve it, but in short, we do want to sell the house empty and vacant almost all the time to our investors. Why? Because we know having an occupant in the property, that's not what people want. If they want the property empty,
risk.
if that investor, a flipper, takes over this property and it's got an occupant in there, they're way more likely to fail on that flip than they are to succeed.
Yes.
Why is that important to me that they succeed? Well, I'm a nice guy and I want people that I work with to be successful. Secondly, I want them as a repeat customer. I want them to succeed so they come back and they buy from me once again. So there's business related. It's selfish, right? I want them to be successful because I'm going to be successful by continuing to sell them more property. And so, of course, I want to make sure that property is vacant for them. Now, how do I do it? Is it eviction always? No. In fact, it's only eviction when that's the choice they basically made. Right. And we hear that a lot. I mean, I just approached somebody this weekend that was basically squatting in this property we just took over, and they were willing to have a conversation. Willing to have a conversation. I'm dying over here, getting all choked up thinking about it. Worst kind of things an occupant. The worst thing an occupant can do is make me kick them out of their home. No, it is. They'll tell me, nope, take me to court, because there is this ridiculous myth out there that people still have today that you can't kick somebody out in winter. You can't kick them out if they've got kids. That they're entitled to take from you, to live in your home and not pay you. They have all this ridiculous misinformation or entitlement, and they get so emboldened by that they force you. They leave you no other recourse. They won't even engage in a conversation with you, and they say, take me to court. And then you do, and then you win. It's not, you will win. It's just a matter of how many nicks and bumps and bruises and how much time it will take before you get them out. And honestly, it's bad advice for the tenant to go that route, because if they're the former owner of a house that was in foreclosure, they have a foreclosure on their record, right? They're not going to be able to go out and buy another property. Nobody's going to fricking give them a loan anytime soon. And now if they're getting evicted because they didn't do the right thing, frankly, and leave someone else's home when they were told that they weren't, welcome to be there anymore, they're going to have an eviction on their record.
Yep.
Which, are you going to rent to somebody that just got evicted?
We generally try to avoid that at all times.
Yeah. So that's how that usually wraps up. So we always try to empty the property out. You can do that through a lot of different ways. Give somebody some time, maybe give somebody some money. Remember, if you're going to kick them out, it's going to cost you some money if you have to go through a court process. It's going to take you some time. Time is money. So maybe make a small, very reasonable offer to help them relocate. It'll help them land on their feet. You can feel real good about that, and I do. I
think coming from like the good cop, position is generally works more. You get more flies with honey, so to speak.
Yeah.
That kind of concept is generally the best way to go. And once again, some people, they're in the situation because they didn't mean to. They didn't want to get in the situation. They weren't trying. They definitely tried to do their best. So if you can be the good guy to help them figure out a good transition, and I think that's the best way.
Everybody wins. It's so much better when it can go that route. When you leave me no option, I don't have to like it, but I will go the option that you leave me. So I always appreciate the fact that I can help somebody transition to the best of my ability and give them as soft of a landing as possible for the situation that they found themselves in.
So Kev, I hate to cut this short, but we got some stuff to do, buddy.
We got to go.
We have some foreclosure auctions happening. We have one actually happening in an hour.
Oh my God. Are we going to live stream that one too? Where is it?
If we can, I don't know. I mean, it's out in kind of far away, out in Florida, Mass, I believe. So we don't have reception.
Yeah, not going to get reception out of there. Okay, so, you heard it here, folks. We're about to go to a foreclosure auction. Well, I guess he is. Am I going? You're going.
No, I'm going.
All right, he's going to go to the foreclosure auction.
Nobody wants this guy.
I'm going to stay and do some work.
You're actually going to do some work?
He's going to go for a drive in the country. And,
it is very nice and relaxing.
Yeah, and we're going to...
if anyone wants to chauffeur me, let me know.
We would live stream this foreclosure auction as we've done so many times. We usually do this on TikTok. What's up, TikTok people? If you're still there, sorry, we've been answering all the YouTube people's questions.
There's a few people.
And so we probably won't have reception. It's pretty rural where we're going to be attending this auction.
But thank you guys for here, YouTube. We're going to be going live more here on YouTube, so we really appreciate you guys. Keep coming back. Right now, it seems like Mondays are a pretty good time. So if you guys have any feedback, leave a comment below, and we're gonna try to keep working this best. I know we had an issue with the camera again.
Yeah, we'll keep working it. Again, we keep stepping up our game, improving the microphone, improving the camera situation. We're going to keep improving the setup for you so that you can get more out of this. And if you haven't already given us a thumbs up on our live stream on YouTube, help us out. What do we got to do? Do we have to beg? Please give us a thumbs up here. Check out the Stand With Me link as well so that you guys can find all the different information. And if you have questions that we weren't able to answer because they weren't foreclosure related today, take a second, ask us anything in that Stand With Me link, and we'll be more than happy to give you a video reply back with the answers to your questions. Thanks, everybody. Take care.